All right, this thing's up to proper temperature. It actually feels like it's got a 160 thermostat in it. It's a nice day, but it's not super hot, so this thing's running cool. But it's warmed up, so let's give it give this thing a little gas and see what it does. Hi everybody, Jim from County Corvette here. I have a 66 Corvette convertible. It is a real red car, and it is an original engine, 300 horsepower. So that's the base engine, but it is an original engine, rebuilt. This car was restored recently by a very competent shop up in New England, Ron's. I've followed those guys. We've had their cars come in here, and they do nice work. So it was a body off restoration. Now, for the uninitiated, a body off restoration on a mid-year Corvette, you haven't been able to touch that for under $125,000 by the cheapest competent shop in years. Right off the bat, this car is significantly less than just the cost of a restoration. So if you're one of those guys that thinks, well, I'll just buy a nice, driver, and I'll just have it restored, you'll be into the car for 200 plus grand. Or you buy this one. This is a turnkey car. Now this car has been, as I said, body off restored. I believe it's had a few things added. Now, it isn't a power brake car, it appears to be original. It has power steering. It has tele. The leather seats were added. It was a standard black interior car. The interior is new in it as well. Everything in here. The dash has been, the gauge cluster, has been properly remanufactured, rebuilt and all. And, everything's new in there. Side exhaust was added, and these are reproduction Kelsey Hayes knockoff wheels. But I'm going to tell you, the car is really, really nice and drives nice, no rattles, squeaks. A 300 horse is a great, great driver engine. You can run pump gas, you don't have to do 93. I'd prefer to see 91 in it at least. But the thing's not going to miss a beat. It can idle for an hour on the hottest day. They're just really well behaved. Now under the hood, the thing has the correct replacement radiator, and it really looks like a nice numbers matching car. Now don't misinterpret that for saying, hey, cool Jim, I'm going to take it and get it NCRS judged. You're gonna get your teeth knocked out, NCRS. Full deduction for exhaust, full deduction for paint because it's too nice. Base coat, clear coat. Paint's really nice on it. It's got a new top. It's just a great car. I'm lucky to have it. It has 141 miles since it was restored, and this customer, he's a retired physician, and he bought this car thinking, well, I'm gonna, I'd like to have a nice car for driving around, and he realized he doesn't use it. So he said to me, Jim, I just want to, cut back on some cars. So that's how I ended up with it. And I can tell you, it is an enormous value. Where I priced it, I'm actually thinking it might be under the money. And this is a $100,000 car these days, and I'm well under that. I don't expect the car is going to be here very long because they're just not around. And with a proper body off restoration, you can see in the photos, everything's done right. Everything was mechanically done right. Just a tremendous bang for the buck. And as I said, Ron's up in New England. They do nice work. Good shop. Good dude. So that's it. That's the sales pitch. We're going to take this thing for a ride. I've already driven it. Runs absolutely flawless. It starts after sitting 3 or 4 days, goes right up to high idle, and runs out up to a red line as it should. And it's a car I would own. So take a good look at it, and you'll compare it out there to stuff that isn't a real red car and isn't restored in a similar price range. And there's simply no comparison. All right, so let's take this thing for a ride. Alright, so this thing just came off a high idle. It's in the intermediate setting. the way it's supposed to be. It'll warm up quick because it's still a pretty nice warm day here. And I just started off in third gear. Rookie. So the guy who restored this car, Ron, up in New England, he's been around a long time, does nice work. This was one of his body off restorations. And a lot of bang for the buck when you buy a car this way. Okay, so the odometer and the trip meter are working. This whole cluster's been restored. I mean, everything on this car is restored and done well. I was talking about prices. You know, a restoration anymore, even on the most perfect car with the minimal amount of repairs, is $125,000. No shop can do it any cheaper than that. And if they say they can, they're not a shop, they're a hobby shop, and they're not running a business. So that's the entry level price for any shop. So you're getting a lot of bang for the buck right out of the wrapper on this car. And yeah, it's hard, it's hard to beat that. Real red car, original motor, nice chassis, everything's restored. It's simply a no-brainer. You can't go wrong buying a well-restored, nice authentic car like this for under its restoration value. So, if you're out there looking, there's not much out there to choose from. Now you'll see cars that are restored in their description, but what does that mean? Was it professionally restored, or was it a guy in his hobby shop doing it? The guy just took everything apart, cleaned it, painted it, put it back together, and it's still a worn out old car. There's a lot of restorations like that out there. Will you know the difference? I know the difference. That's why I take them out and drive them like the way I do. That's why I look them over, and I won't touch a car like that because it's a time bomb. It's a truly a misrepresented car. It's not restored if it's not mechanically restored. I just had a 63 split window in guy, and I could tell it wasn't a great restoration to start with. The bodywork, the paintwork was not good, and any 63 split window deserves a proper paint job, and this car didn't have it. But the guy bought it anyway, paid $125 for it. This is back probably last winter, and actually got a mechanic that owned it, and he brought the car to us. So he threw the talent on it. He couldn't. Everything he touched. I think he called the car Frankenstein. It was basically a cobbled together car anyway. So, we proceeded to try to sort the car out, and it needed everything mechanically rebuilt. Everything. Nothing was rebuilt on it. The engine was a 340, but had a nodular crank in it that wasn't drilled, wrong balancer, and on and on and on and on. And the guy got really frustrated. I ended up selling the car after we straightened it out. It was a restamp also, so probably started life as a 300, you know, like this car. This is an original engine car, and yeah, there's a lot to be said for that. I would take an original 300 over a, you know, bogus 4 1/4 any day. Honestly, anymore, I like the 300s because you can run them on regular pump gas. This thing's easy peasy. So, you know, that's what I like, and a lot to be said for that. You know, authenticity trumps everything else, in my opinion. So enough of that rant, but this car it's truly a no-brainer. There's just not many of them like her. This thing's gonna fly out of here, so you may even find that it's sold by the time you see this video. But who knows, you know? And the market's softened a little bit. It's not as crazy as it was, you know, back early summer, late last year, you know, over the winter and all. But it's still strong. Good stuff is always going to bring money. And, you know, there's always money out there. You know, even when the stock market's crashing, you know, I got customers, they're making money. Not all of them, but some of them. So, this market's still strong enough that, you know, you're not going to see these cars devaluing. You know, and if nothing else, inflation's going to continue to push the prices up, and that's just the way it works. They're printing more dollars every day, but they're not making any more 66 Corvettes. So, get yourself a good one. This is a good one. Alright, this thing's up to proper temperature. It actually feels like it's got a 160 thermostat in it. It's a nice day, but it's not super hot, so this thing's running cool. But it's warmed up, so let's give it a little, give this thing a little gas and see what it does. Okay, it goes up to 5,500. Starts to, you know, run out of power at 5,000. That's what 300s do. But goes right up the red line, as it should. And it's a good running 300. The difference between a 300 and a 350 is not, it's obviously 50 horsepower, but it's not a lot of torque. So the 350 is going to give you a little more RPM. But as for just a cruiser, this thing's just fine. I do like the power brakes in this thing. It's really responsive. Power brakes and the steering just makes for a really easy driver. Also, telescopic wheel. Good, comfortable car. So, all in all, it's you know, like I said, the leather has been added, pipes have been added, but still a nice car overall. A tremendous value considering what it costs and the time on a restoration. You don't forget that. You know, you're not gonna You buy a car and you get it restored, you're minimum 6 months, more likely a year. And you could be driving this thing for the autumn leaf changes here up in Northeast. So there you go, guys. Everything's working perfectly on this car. All the gauges work right. Trip odometer, trip meter, and odometer both working, clocking the right mileage, and there you go. Great car for the money. So give us a call. Let us know if you have an interest, if you have trades, that type of thing. And we'll be happy to show you this thing and see what we can do for you. Thanks for watching, and please subscribe. We got a lot of new stuff coming and going, and you don't want to miss out on it.